From the first moment you load up Overwatch, it oozes style. As Blizzard's first new IP in over a decade, Overwatch enters the first-person shooter market with a huge amount of hype and expectations. But does it live up to them? Hey everybody, I'm Dimebot, and this is my review of Overwatch. The first thing you need to know about Overwatch is that it's a multiplayer-only shooter. In large part, and that's why I waited to do this review. I wanted to see how the game did in the wild, how the servers held up, what the community was like. And so far, I can say that the infrastructure of the game has held up well. Aside from a very brief hiccup on launch night, I've seen almost no problems. Community is also strong with tons of people playing, and very little of the toxicity I've come to expect out of FPS communities recently. So, that being said, what exactly is the game of Overwatch? Well, in case you've been under a rock, Overwatch is a competitive, team-based online shooter focusing around 21 different heroes, each of whom have their own unique weapons, abilities, and playstyles. You have Reaper, the dual shotgun-wielding Wraith, McCree, the badass six-shooter toting cowboy, Diva, a former pro StarCraft player who pilots a mech into combat. Yes, that's actually her bio, and many, many more. Most people will be familiar with the guerrilla scientist Winston and the super speedy time-bending Tracer, as they've been used as the face of the franchise. But there are so many more heroes in this game, and each one oozes personality, even though you inhabit them from a first-person point of view, and little of their backstories has yet to be revealed. Blizzard's actually done a great job of creating memorable, recognizable characters and levels here and polishing them to a high sheen. The artwork is outstanding, from the deserts of Route 66 to the cramped, narrow city streets of Kings Row. While there might not be super high-resolution textures everywhere, Overwatch is a gorgeous game full of bright colors, flashy effects, and it's never afraid to have its characters throw out quips and one-liners. But how does it play? Well, Overwatch comes with 12 maps and 4 main modes out of the box. There's Payload, Capture, King of the Hill, and a hybrid mode. Payload sees you escorting a slow-moving cart, car, or object from one end of the map to the other, passing through checkpoints as you do because video game reasons. One team attacks and the other defends. King of the Hill is a fight over a single capture point, while Capture sees one team trying to take 2 points in succession while the defenders try to stop them for, again, video game reasons. And lastly, there's a hybrid mode, which tasks one team with capturing a point and then escorting a payload. So, none of these modes are new or particularly original. So it's fortunate then that Overwatch has sublime gameplay. Level designs are complex with tons of verticality, choke points, and side passages. Attacks can come from anywhere and everywhere, and they will, thanks to characters that can climb walls, use grappling hooks, jump huge distances, and in the case of Pharah, even fly. Even Mei, the cutest of ice-wielding little maniacs, can get to heights you would not expect her to be on by riding up on her ice wall. So this attention to level design is great, and it's what helps the silky smooth movement mechanics of Overwatch shine. Vaulting over a wall on Kings Row to come crashing down among the defenders as Winston is fluid and feels totally natural. Likewise, hooking an archway with a grappling hook, flinging yourself over it, and landing that mid-air killing headshot as Widowmaker is a treat, and it's going to leave you feeling like a total badass. Shooting is snappy, but it still requires some skill. You've got hit-scan characters here like Widowmaker, McCree, and Soldier 76, whose projectiles arrive on target as soon as you pull the trigger. And you've got characters with Tesla cannons that arc electricity all over the place, like Winston. You've got Mei with her ice beam. You've got melee characters like Reinhardt with his giant hammer. And even you've got the grenade-lobbing Junkrat. So, what makes these 6v6 clashes unique is these characters. Players can swap heroes at any time if they die or walk back to their current spawn area. This means that team compositions shift and flow over the course of a map, reacting to changes in the map, the current needs of the team, or just straight the enemy being cheesy and running 6 tracers. Since each character has a static set of skills that do not change or level up, knowing heroes and who they counter and who they're weak to is a huge part of the game. It's this fluid, ever-shifting gameplay dynamic that makes Overwatch so much fun. If you're losing to a sniper-based team, grab Diva or Genji and force the sniper off the high ground. Getting trounced by a concentrated push, build up Lucio's ultimate, drop the beat, and give your team the massive health boost they need to push them back. Strategy is a huge component of Overwatch, and Blizzard's made it so much fun that you want to try new heroes in new situations. Outside of the current quick play mode, competitive modes coming later, there's a shooting range you can use to hone your skills, custom games that let you change the rule sets, map, and characters allowed, and the weekly Brawl. Brawl may do crazy things like reduce all cooldowns, pit only 2 characters like Hanzo and Genji against each other on one map, or some other variation. It's pretty similar to the way Blizzard does a tavern brawl in Hearthstone, and it can be a pretty fun distraction. However, some people are still going to balk at the price tag of Overwatch. It's $40 on PC or $60 on Xbox One and PS4, so it's a decent asking price for an online-only shooter, no single player component, and only a handful of modes and a dozen maps. Fortunately, Blizzard has said that all future heroes and maps will be free. Now, given their track record of supporting franchises like WoW and StarCraft, I'm pretty inclined to believe there will be a large amount of future content for Overwatch. Still, as always, price tag is something that needs to be kept in mind when deciding if Overwatch is the game for you. Now, another thing to consider is that the game has no real progression system like you might find in, say, Call of Duty. You do gain levels for your account, but they mostly serve to give you a loot crate each time you level up. These crates contain skins, poses, emotes, voice lines, and sprays to use in-game. So my main concern with this is that they can also be purchased for real currency. And I don't have a problem with purely cosmetic items being available for real money, but the fact that the system seems to continually give you mostly voice lines or sprays that you might not care about is kind of frustrating. A separate option to go in and buy that sweet Widowmaker legendary skin I've been wanting, like in Smite, would be great. As it is, you're reduced to a purely random dice roll, and it can be just a bit irritating to open a chest full of nothing but voice lines for Zenyatta. It's a pretty minor concern though. Overall, Overwatch is a fantastic new shooter. By no means is it perfect, and some people will, like I said, have concerns about the value of the game in its current state. However, with more content coming down the line, I think you need to look at the fact that for between $40 to $60, you can easily spend a couple of hundred hours playing this game. The dynamic, ever-shifting flow of the battles helps keep that relatively small handful of maps and modes from getting stale. And if you have friends to play with, coordinating strategies and hero choices ups the fun factor even more. Now, as you know, I rate games on a 10-point scale because review ratings are nothing but arbitrary numbers anyways. So, I'm giving Overwatch an 8.5 out of 10. Or, in terms that actually mean something, it's a great game. It's gorgeous, it's super fun. Go pick it up if you want a new FPS you can spend hours and hours in. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Dimebot. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. Catch you next time. Did you like the video? Hit subscribe. Or click one of these other videos and keep on watching. And then hit the subscribe button.